There have been violent clashes in Hong Kong between police and pro-democracy demonstrators. Over 50 people have been taken to hospital, and at least one person is in a critical condition after officers used live ammunition. Now, at the heart of the protests is the fear that the freedoms Hong Kong currently enjoys are threatened by a powerful China. And there was evidence of that power in Beijing as the country marked 70 years under communist rule. In a moment, we'll hear from John Sudworth on those celebrations. But first, Rupert Wingfield-Hayes joins us from Hong Kong. Rupert.
George, as you said, today was supposed to be all about China's big birthday party. But here in Hong Kong, many people were determined to spoil the party for China. They had been told that protests today were banned, but that didn't stop them coming out in their tens of thousands. And George, it has been a very violent day here in Hong Kong today. Police say 180 protesters have been arrested, and they say they fired 6 live rounds during today's protests. And for the first time, one of those rounds was fired directly at a protester. This was Hong Kong's birthday present to China. They had been told to stay home, that any protest today would be illegal. Any hope the protests would pass peacefully were quickly dashed. This was central Hong Kong this afternoon. And this, the town of Chungwan. Police and protesters fighting running street battles. In the middle of one such battle, this happened. As a young protester tries to strike a policeman with a metal bar, the officer shoots at almost point-blank range. The 18-year-old protester is expected to survive. But news of his shooting only increased the fury on the streets.
We weren't afraid, because they sure will get angrier and angrier. We weren't afraid of that. We have to, especially us, we have to stay in the front line to protect our people, to save our Hong Kong, the future of our Hong Kong.
As night fell, the streets of Hong Kong began to burn. The protesters began targeting Chinese state-owned banks with Molotov cocktails. But as police reinforcements arrived, the protesters decided it was time to retreat. So this is the middle of Causeway Bay on Hong Kong Island, and you can see, here come the riot police, here come the water cannon. They're about to start clearing this street. This is only one of at least 6 different protests that's taking place here. With the water cannons speeding after them and the riot police close behind, the protesters fled into the back streets. And so began a game of cat and mouse. On a street corner, we found this group of angry local residents cursing the police. Up above, they had a suspected protester cornered. As the police marched him away, the crowd screamed at them, "Gangsters, we curse your whole family." This is how deep the divisions have now become here. This is now the new normal. Rupert Wingfield-Hayes, BBC News, in Hong Kong.
It was a display of military might and the very thing Hong Kong's protesters are railing against: unchallenged political power. China's 70-year economic rise presented as a Communist Party victory in Communist Party style. The president looking on as the adoring crowds carried his portrait. No force can stop the Chinese people, he said. But while China's economic boom has been extraordinary, communist rule has also brought chaos, famine.
Huge fences all around it, look.
And recently the mass incarceration of Muslims in camps that China calls schools. All of these issues are heavily censored.
If the party controls everything, society is screwed up. The best way of celebration would be to review history and learn from it.
Even Beijing's parade was for invited guests only, with the public kept at a distance. Hong Kong's chief executive, Carrie Lam, was there, celebrating China's transition from impoverished neighbour to dominant power. It's an extraordinary, high-octane tribute to this country's rise to prosperity. But it's a narrative still under tight political control. I'm having to report on the parade from outside the cordon. One of a number of journalists denied access, it seems, because of official complaints about our reporting. In stark contrast to the chaos in Hong Kong, Beijing partied into the night. The gulf between the two cities and the two systems as wide as ever. John Sudworth, BBC News, Beijing.